Do you believe the university is preparing students for success in life?
No, I don't think so.
Number one, business and self-development podcast. Connected Minds podcast.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of gap in between what after school looks like and then what you actually seen within the school that we are in. Now, if you're in the university, you think things are easier than once you're done with school. But then once you're getting closer to finishing school, that is where reality starts hitting you. If you get a chance to enter into the career world, like doing internships and attachments when you're in school, it takes you closer to what the real world looks like when it comes to life after school. So people who have had that experience before tend to add more value to themselves before they leave school. In a case where the university is not making any deliberate attempts to make some of these things easily accessible to students, it becomes a challenge. What do I mean? People are lacking the soft skills, communication wise, using computers in this digital age, and even how to navigate your way around being a graduate of the university. All these things are not being taken care of. People are not getting the chance to explore other alternatives like practical side of the theory things we do in school. And when it comes to the field of entrepreneurship too, there is least support when you look at the kind of system you're running here within the country. So at the end, when students come out of school, we realize they're really struggling because they do not have any other thing to do aside the mundane way of reading books in school and then sitting for exam. There's nothing else to show for it. Aside the few ones who were able to do something impactful and then added value to themselves when they were in school.
I've just started this conversation and just gone in straight to my favorite question, right? I should have really taken it slow and build it up, but it's a question that I thought it's on the mind of a lot of people, especially some of us as well who came from university. But we did things slightly differently. But I definitely do not think that the average university life prepares a student, for the university of life, if I may say. Now, what though do you think that universities can incorporate, especially University of Ghana, where you are the SRC president? What can they do now to prepare students?
For University of Ghana, luckily, our Vice Chancellor is running the One Student, One Laptop initiative, which is bringing students closer to the digital age. So the whole idea behind the One Student, One Laptop initiative is to provide computer equipment, laptops mostly, to students who do not have them and those who cannot afford them. At the end, we are looking at students bettering their research work, having the chance to do more practical work, and also getting close to some of the things they can explore while they are students. There are a lot of opportunities out there, but sometimes the excuses behind, I do not have computers, I cannot do research, hinder students from exploring these things. So looking at some of the things the Vice Chancellor is doing, if it is incorporated in other universities, it is going to help. And similarly at K University, they run this course. I don't know the name, but it is run through their computer systems together with their Dean of Student Affairs, where they train students in interview skills, CV writing, and another thing that is relevant to the career world. If other schools adopt this, to the University of Ghana and the other schools as well, it is really going to help students because we realize that when students step out of school, they lack these basic skills. When you sit them down for interviews, some would fail woefully. It is extremely bad. And when it comes to what they are supposed to give to what employers are looking out for, they do not have those things. So on the side of KNUS, that is one thing they've adopted, which is really helping their system. So subsequently, if other schools are supposed to or able to incorporate that, it is really going to help. And if we are able to create a lot of opportunities for students when it comes to internships and attachments, it is really good because at the end, it gives you a preview of how the future of work is going to look like to you, how you are going to cope in a company when you're done with school. Some of these people or students do not have experiences in any of these things. No attachments, no internships, no industrial experience. The moment they leave school and then they go to the various companies and organizations to go and do their national service, they really struggle because they do not have experiences in any of these. And it would shock you that interpersonal relation skills is very, very important when it comes to the career world. But students do not really learn these kind of things because, I mean, I had no internship, I had no attachment. So where am I going to learn these things from? So it's like all these things which are supposed to be learned before coming out of school are supposed to be learned when you are done with school. When you're doing your national service or you've picked up a job role, that is where you are forced to learn these kind of things. But when you look at some of our schools in the Western world, these things are exposed to them before they come out. So they come out as holistic graduates who are thriving in all these areas. So the few things we've mentioned, if you're able to incorporate that, it is going to build our students for success, like big time.
I agree. I think, when people come out of university, around here, they're a bit too timid.
Right.
Almost not prepared for the world.
Yes.
You've just spent about 4 years, maximum 6 years at university. Coming out to be, let's say, a doctor, or, you just did an HR course, whatever. But this is the time where you are coming into the real world, where you're going to spend huge amount of your life.
Yes.
Interact with people. And I definitely think that, universities definitely can do better. But this is the reason why I love conversation with you. The fact that as a young person, you saw opportunity in young leadership and you decided to go to become the SRC president for the University of Ghana for this year. I think that's amazing. It's marvelous. Now, I want us to go deep into your pursuit for this leadership.
All right. So I think I did a lot of things on my side. I thought I was just building a brand and then doing what I love doing, being in the spotlight and being able to influence a group of people. I created this information bank where I was feeding students with academic posts and opportunities. And at the University of Ghana campus, there's one thing students are really interested in. So the moment you are giving them content like this, they are going to stay glued to whichever screen you're projecting that through. And then the plan was not to become SRC president from the start.
What was the plan?
The plan was simply to be influential and for me to be able to snap my fingers and then I get people moving. That was just the plan. It just felt good that you are doing something good for students and at the end you are being able to influence them towards a particular direction. So during that time, I drew a very thick line between leadership and occupying offices. So there are few times where people would compare me and then the things I was doing to sitting executives in various offices, SRC, junior common rooms, and other ones. Because the kind of things I was doing for students, you would assume I was campaigning for SRC president or I'm holding a very high profile position somewhere. But you get closer and you realize that no, he's not holding any position.
Just a regular student.
Right. So where is this forward from? That was the conversation. So it made me more popular. And then people started becoming intrigued about the personality. Because my releases were getting increasingly relevant to students. It was being shared across the platforms we had on campus, yet I was not holding any office. And then that time, the plan was still not to run for SRC president. The plan to run for SRC president some way came up when I was level 200. The plan was actually to just lead and then make impact for the students to benefit from. And then some way, somehow, I was convinced into running for Sabajisa president because they thought I was capable and I was going to do the work. I'd not really contested for an election before my whole life. It is mostly by appointment.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, you can do the work, so just get this position and work on it. So I was not really comfortable with people are coming to
vote for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like, no, I'm not going for any position again. Then that was when the SRC idea died.
So how do you then eventually say that I'm going to put my name up and this time I'm going to be voted on?
So right after we were moved to Sabah, I didn't stop doing what I was doing to help students. And that time, I had grown so popular. my contacts had shot up from around 130 before to around 13,000 when I was moved to Kapon. So that was level 300 first semester. And then campaign has started for SRC election. And people were calling me out, oh, come for the position. I was able to also create a Telegram channel. That was where I was using to disseminate my information. It was around 12,600 subscribers on that channel. So people felt you had everything when it comes to social capital and then supporters. So you should go in for the position. Now, I was like, no. What happened to Sabah still lingers on my mind. And then it really pains me. So there's no way I'm going to go in for another position. Then second semester, I moved to a new hall-ish. Because I'm so comfortable in diaspora. It was far from campus. And then I had a lot of rounds to be making on main campus. So I was like, well, let me get closer to main campus. So I moved to H2. Then I think a week to the elections, conversations of pairings started. So initially, everyone was running as a presidential candidate, but you're supposed to get a running mate as well. So my name came up a few times, and then people even came to me, oh, I feel you're running for SRC president. I'm disappointed. Why didn't you tell me? You know what we are willing to do for you. I got a lot of texts in my DM. Oh, go. You're willing to do this for you. You're willing to do that for you. But I never paid attention to that. Then on the last day of filing, where they were closing nominations for those who were officially coming to file as a pair, I was in Tema at that time. Then I received a call that I've been told you are pairing with this person to run for SRC vice president at that time. And I was like, oh no. One, I've not entered into any pairing agreement with anybody. Secondly, if I'm even entering the race, I'm not coming to run as a vice president. I don't want to run as president.
That's right.
And at that time, I was so childish about the whole thoughts. So I was even laughing when I was speaking to them. Then around 4 p.m., they said I should come to campus. There's an emergency meeting. I should come. I went to campus, and then our vice president, who happened to be my running mate in the election, was in my hall. And the conversation was, we are supposed to pair because he has not gotten a pair yet, and the other options are available, but he just wants to win the election once and for all. And I was like, hey, this is so some way for me because I'm not ready. And then the nominations close today. How am I supposed to take such a decision without even telling my parents about it? And I'm just coming to enter into such huge election as University of Ghana SRC elections. Then around 6 p.m., I started agreeing. I was like, okay, I'm going to run, but not as a vice presidential candidate. Then his other management team did also not agree. They wanted him to run for president while I be his running mate, his vice president. Then I was like, no. So around 7:40 p.m., that was like 20 minutes to closing of the nominations. My people also came around. My manager and then some other people who have been mentoring me and all of that. So they came around, and then we were trying to reach an agreement that I have built so much over the past 3 years that I cannot just settle for vice president. And the only mistake someone may call it on my side is the fact that I simply did not start campaigning to people that I was going for SRC president, but I was doing the works of someone who was an aspirant. That was how I got the numbers, obviously. And that was how I got popular. Then around 7:50, that was like 10 minutes to the deadline, we're in a car driving to the union, there's a union building where you're supposed to go foul. And then he agreed to go for vice president. I was not even comfortable with that decision. I was like, are you very, very sure of your decision? He was like, yes. Looking at his expression, I realized there was a lot of disappointment on his face. But I was like, this is where we are. I mean, in life, you sacrifice sometimes. So we both appended our signatures. I was in a Chelsea shirt, by the way, and it became a trending matter on campus. That how can I win an election on campus? I'm not serious. I have a very poor brand. Why am I wearing a Chelsea shirt to go and file for nomination for such office? So people who were closer to us realized that this decision was hasty. It came just recently. So we were not prepared to even wear suit or kaftan or whatever to go and foul and then, So I was just wearing a Chelsea shirt. We fouled and then the work had to start. That was just 2 weeks before our exam. So you can imagine. The time I was supposed to use to study, now I had to use those time to campaign. Now, the name was out there, but people had not met me.
Right.
I was so much interested in this type of power where you would influence people without they having access to you. So most of the times you never see me on campus, even till now, unless I want to make myself available. So all these times I was so popular, you only see my flyers and my pictures on flyers, but in-person interactions were so difficult. And I was so fond of wearing masks on campus.
Okay.
Yes, throughout those periods, even sometimes during the campaign, I was wearing mask. I didn't want people to feel they have like 100% access to you or you are known. When that happens, they get used to you, so the influence decreases. But when it still feels fresh and the personality still hangs at the top and it's something people are still trying to reach out to, you get a chance to get this influence on them.
Yeah.
So that was just the plan. So that was how we found. They had to work towards the election itself, and then we came up with a very historic percentage. Was it 65%?
Okay.
4 different pairs. And that is the highest number of votes ever collated at the University of Ghana.
That's
10,000 plus votes for a pair. So
I'm sure there are aspirants, and their question is, how exactly did you win the election?
hard work. Like extreme hard work. Because the morning before I filed, a lot of people were posting me on their stats that come and contest. And people will not just call you out to come and contest if you've not done something for them or if you're not known for something. Now, when the election was ongoing, we're voting via a portal. It was online. It will get to a part, times within the day, the vote margin would increase from 1,000 to 2,000, like within a few minutes. Then my vice president would be scared. He'd be like, hey, are they touching the system? And I'm like, no, I knew what I was doing. So the Telegram channel I was telling you about had about 13,000 subscribers. So momentarily during the election period, I will post there that, please, if you've not voted, kindly go vote. The moment I post that, the vote margin increases by a very wide range.
Okay.
Right. So I saw that it is basically what I had done for these 13 sets of people who
That
just
is
want to
making
read.
them vote for you.
Exactly.
They are paying you back, basically.
Right. That was the whole thing. And those numbers that we got on the Telegram channel, they all got there because they consumed some of the information we shared across to them, or they explored some of the opportunities I shared with them. That is the only way you would find yourself on that page. So some way, somehow, all those 13 people there had been impacted by some of the things I had done on campus. So it was basically consistent hard work, because it started from level 100. The second time I was in level 100, 2022, then 23. Oh no, that was 2021, 2023.
Yep.
Yeah. So all the works I had done for that 3 years, and the one that my vice president had also complemented with, just give us that.
You know, Frank, leadership is highly tied into service. Mm-hmm. And how you're speaking, I could tell because you served the people so much, they felt that they needed to put you in a place where you can provide even more service to them. Now, how do you define success?
So that is marking out the things you want to do. For me, I relate that to my notepad all the time.
Okay.
If you take my notepad, like I have long-term goals written in it. By the end of this month, I should have been able to mark or tick this one out. Then I have weekly based ones, and then I have ones for daily basis. So the moment I do something there, I tick it, and then that is success for me. The moment it is done, the moment I know I have crossed it out, that is success. So I just outline these plans in my notepad. And then the moment I don't do it, I don't feel okay. So I could wake up like 4 a.m. and I'm like, no, let me work on this. If I don't work on this, I can't work on another plan. So that is how it simply works. And then I end up, so if you take my notes pad and you go through, you realize I'd cancelled almost every page. Like that is what I had to do to make sure I'm getting successful at everything I'm doing.
Yeah. While you were saying that, I was almost getting a bit teary because that's exactly how I do. I have a to-do list.
Okay.
And once I tick off, I'm like, yeah, thank God I've done that.
Yes.
I've done that.
Yes.
And that can get you going. Before you know it, you're doing those small, like a little drop of water makes a mighty ocean, right?
And it comes with this fulfillment. Like, you feel so happy, everything is on point.
Yeah.
Everything is getting done.
Yeah.
When other people are watching, they might not feel you are being successful at what you are doing. But within you, you know, this is what I am supposed to do. This is what I want to achieve at this point in time. If I have done it, that is what matters, not how other people are seeing it.
So really, the truth is that you can never measure your level of success against someone. You can't let someone be the benchmark.
Right. You can never do that.
Yeah.
You can never do that.
I want to take you back a bit. When you were speaking earlier on, you spoke about being bullied a lot when you were younger. What was happening at that time?
I started being bullied in nursery school. I think I was too small. So
all of us.
I was extremely small. I remember my parents were telling me that they had to let me stay in class 1 for 3 good years, like 3 times, just because, just for me to grow in height before they will push me to the next level because I was so small. And they just admitted that, he is smart and everything, but you're too small to move on to the next level. So during those times, we had people who were taller in the class, and then I was the tiniest in the class, yet the smartest, if I would say. So it came with this friction. When you were children, these things happen sometimes. And because I was smarter, I think in primary one, most of the girls wanted to be around me. And then the boys were not so happy about that. So constantly they would pick on me and
make fun of you.
Yes, and even beat me sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. It was looking like a joke until class 6. I think that was when I had one of the extreme level of being bullied. So I think something happened. I was the one who marked the register in class 6. I was a class prefect and I was a school prefect as well. Then it's either they did not come for class or something. So obviously I did not mark them as present. And then they got pissed. So when we closed from school that time, they actually attacked me and gave me the beatings of a lifetime. Then I reported this issue to the school authorities, and they were supposed to read an apology letter to me at assembly. They read the letter, and I was like, I'm not happy with the content of the letter. As young as I was that time, I could tell when someone had regretted their actions or not. So I just told them, you're not showing remorse for what you did. So draft a new letter. Can you imagine? On that same day, I was beaten again, like by these same boys.
Wow. Yes,
by these same boys. And there were a lot of things boys were doing that I was not so much involved in. I found them as having toxic traits.
Right.
Like beating people up to prove a point. Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Doing things to prove that you are a man. I was not fond of those things. So I was categorized as a flexible masculine, which comes with name calling and then being, sidelined.
Right.
In a lot of things.
I understand exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very small as well.
Okay.
But I had a strategy. I was small, but I was fast. And I was very troublesome. But what I did was, in my class, the tallest and the strongest of boys were my friends.
Okay.
I made friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there were 2 tall guys. They were taller than almost anybody in the school. They were my friends.
Oh.
So it was hard for me to get myself into those kind of trouble. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I caused some of them through them, but say no to bullying, man. Say no to bullying. I guess for me,
times, I was never able to speak to my parents about it.
Wow.
It was most of the time my mother was traveling, so I spent most of my childhood days with my dad. And my dad, the relationship we had was purely make the grades, let me award you. It was like my dad was a lecturer, but he was not. But that was the kind of relationship we had. Go make the A's, let me reward you. We never had that personal interaction. So I never spoke to anybody about these things. And if you are a child and these things are happening to you, if you don't take care, you build a lot of bitterness and pain within you.
Yeah.
That's something I realized when I got to senior high school. I realized that I'd built a lot of bitter experience and then pain because I never got to speak to anybody about it. Not even friends, not family, not a counselor. And then things were happening that was really getting to me, but I never expressed these things to anybody.
Wow. I really encourage that people should talk. You know, they should find someone and speak to them. You know, advice for someone who is thinking of, you know, taking over your position. You know, what advice should you give to them?
If you want to work, politics should never be part of the conversation.
Okay.
If you really want to serve the interests of the students. Now, you are supposed to guard your emotional intelligence too. Else, when you step into these shoes, you would even want to resign the next day. Because the pressure is a lot. Like, it's a lot of pressure. Attending meetings, balancing your social life, academic work, and all of that. And if you don't take care, if you are someone who is fond of instant gratification, where you always want to please or enjoy the sense of fulfillment from current happenings, you end up making a lot of mistakes. So if you're ever aspiring to be SRC president or take up other leadership roles, critics will come, political talks, interest, and opportunities would also come your way. But at every point in time, you're supposed to leverage on the reason why you came, what you actually want to do for students. Else, your impact will never be felt. And then you think you're helping the students out. But the moment you fall off and then you look at yourself in the mirror and then what you've done so far, you realize that no, someone actually ran the administration using you, which is mostly no good. And another thing is, the moment you get closer to wielding that power, everyone becomes a friend. Everyone becomes an enemy. Everyone will try to be in your good books. And elsewhere, when you are not there, they would settle on bad terms against you with other people.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So people who are ever willing to aspire for this position should know that.
These are really good words. These are really good words. I'm even inspired. You know, these are really good words. We've just been speaking to Frank Tsikata, who is the current SRC president for the University of Ghana. Now, I believe in young leadership, youth leadership, because that's where we start building ourselves from. We build our network, we build our confidence, courage, you know, all these things that we need for life. And I definitely think because you've been bold enough to take on this challenge, you've got a bright future ahead of you, man. So thank you guys for listening, and you know, yeah, stay connected.